The college football playoff debate is heating up. As you know, the college football playoff is likely locked in for 14 teams again this year. Okay. I'm sorry, excuse me. It's likely locked in for 12 teams again this year through 2025. But starting in 2026, when the Big Ten and SEC exercise exclusive control, it's going to change. There's options on what to do. Some people are talking about making it 14 teams. Others are talking about expanding to 16 teams. Others want to keep it at 12. Then there's people like me who think you should have gone back to 4 or just the BCS. Now, that's the poll question up right now. What is the best CFP format? 16 teams, 14 teams, keep it at 12, go back to 4 or BCS? I'm team go back to 4 or BCS. However, most of the talk and the thought to this point has been that they would expand it to 14 teams. The automatic qualifier talk we've covered. But now reports are out that there's a favor of 16 teams, and Ross Dellinger of Yahoo is reporting this. How would 16 teams work? We're going to talk about that now, and we're going to play a little 4 downs when discussing it, because it's kind of interesting what they're suggesting. So 4 downs now, brought to you by Ted Russell Ford. We're live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville, new and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. 4 downs right now. Let's get started. First, a message from Cooper Mays to hit like and subscribe. And I don't have the audio, so I'll start with first down from Coop. First down from Coop. How would a 16-team look? CFP look? According to Ross Dellinger, this includes auto bids per conference. 4 auto bids for the SEC, 4 auto bids for the Big Ten, 2 for the Big 12, 2 for the ACC, 1 group of 5 auto bid, and 3 at-large auto bids. That would get you to 16 teams. Okay, now, those auto bid numbers were floated for the 14-team playoff too, but there would just be 1 at-large auto bid at that point. Would at-large auto bids and would auto bids per conference destroy any value in non-conference games or rankings or what the committee can do? No, because seeding would still matter. There's still home playoff games. And most importantly, too, I don't think, and you have to reimagine this, I don't think it's where you finish in your conference standings. The way you can make the auto bids work is if you throw out conference standings and just throw out where teams rank within the conference. That's how you could do the auto bids. I don't love it. But given all the proposals outside of that, if you're going to go to 16 teams, this is one of the better ways to do it, quite honestly. This is one of the more effective ways to do it. Second down from Cooper Mays. What will the conference championship game format be if there's auto bids? Now, here's where things get interesting, guys. Because if there's auto bids for the SEC and the Big 10 and the Big 12 and the ACC and in the group, not necessarily the group of 5, but the other ones, well, then the SEC and Big 10, the championship games for those 2 leagues don't mean anything. Both teams playing in the championship games will go to the playoff and actually will probably likely get a home playoff game. So with that in mind, the auto bids, truth be told, don't really mean much. And I would say, I'm sorry, the conference championship games don't really mean much. So what Ross Dellinger has reported is that interconference play-in games might replace the conference championship games. What are interconference play-in games? The 3rd-ranked team in the conference would play the 6th-ranked team in the conference, and the 4th-ranked team would play the 5th-ranked team, and those would be play-in games to get to the playoff. That's what's been floated as a replacement for the conference championship games. Now, there's an inherent flaw in that system too if you go to 16. It's not there if you go to 14 and there's only 1 at-large bid, but it is there if you go to 16 and there's 3 at-large bids. And here's that flaw. If you go to 3 at-large bids and you have 4 auto bids for the SEC and the Big 10 each, well, guys, the 5th-ranked team in the SEC and the 5th-ranked team in the Big 10 are both likely to be at-large teams then. So you still don't incentivize them to try to waste energy to win that conference game when the fact of the matter is they're going to the playoff anyway. And the fact of the matter is they likely don't have a home playoff game anyway. They're going to have a road playoff game. So there's nothing really to play for at that point except for seeding. But why risk injury just for seeding? That's not going to work. I'm just going to tell you guys up front, that's not going to work. So if you're going to do the auto bids and the play-in, I think you got to stick with 14 teams. Now, a way around that is if the group of 5 can leverage itself to get one more extra team. And then you only have 2 at-large bids. And then 3, 6, and 4, 5 have to play because when 3 and 6 play, if 6 wins, all of a sudden 5 has some pressure to win because if 6 wins, they bump up as a bubble team, and 5 nor 4 can afford to lose at that point because they might lose at large spot. So at that point, it could be intriguing. But it would depend on how they schedule all of these things. I think the best way to do this would be, excuse me, have 4 and 5 play first so they don't know what 6 does, because everything would hinge on 6, on the 6 team in the conference, which is not going to have an at-large bid locked in. But maybe they will. There's 3 at-large bids. You could definitely see a scenario where the SEC or the Big Ten, the 5th and 6th best teams in the leagues, know they're going the week of conference championship week, but that's still dependent on how other teams play out. So you can make this matter, but you have to make 4 and 5 play before 3 versus 6 if you're going to do that. That's going to be a flaw otherwise. The other result of this would be the SEC moves to a 9-game schedule. This is what everybody wants. Part of the reason they haven't is because there was no reward for playing a tough schedule last year based on what the College Football Playoff Selection Committee did. So moving to a 9-game schedule hurts your college football playoff chances if you play a Power 5 non-conference game. However, if you have auto bids locked in, that's not as much of an issue. And the at-large bids are going to go to some of your schools anyway. So moving to a 9-game schedule is advantage. That was Third Down, brought to you by Tennessee Center Cooper Mays. Before we get to Fourth Down, once again, portions of the program and 4 Downs in general are brought to you by Ted Russell Ford. We are live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville, new and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer.
Like a blast from the past, the Super Dealer is back. Look to the skies, Knoxville. The Super Dealer is fighting for price, service, and the American made. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Save up to $4,350 on a new Ford F-150 XLT, or get into a new Ford Ranger XLT with no payments for 90 days. Come see the Super Dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford.
All SEC Center Cooper Mays here. Fourth Down. I don't have the audio, so I had to do that, guys. Yes, 4th Down from all SEC Center Cooper Mays. The 16-team CFP with auto bids would lead to a scheduling agreement with the SEC and the Big Ten, which they want to have, where you have an SEC Big Ten challenge. That would be epic, particularly at the start of the year. Labor Day weekend, have an SEC Big Ten challenge where the highest rank, have them play based on where they finished in the league the year before. Of course, the bottom 2 teams in the Big Ten just wouldn't get to take part of it since there's 18 Big Ten teams and 16 SEC teams. So what? This would be legendary. Legend, wait for it, dairy. I'm dead serious. This would be so much fun if this is how you had Labor Day go. Okay. And I don't know why they don't do this already. You could start it on a Thursday and make it last through a Monday because it's Labor Day weekend. And you would have, in an SEC Big Ten Challenge, you would have 16 games. Your premier games, you would have at noon, 3:30. I'm sorry. You would have premier games on Thursday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. That's where you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Actually, I take that back. No. You would have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, 1 on Monday. Because this would just be so epic to watch. You have a nice little teaser game with one of the mid-level teams for a Thursday night, and then another teaser game on a Sunday afternoon. Okay, so here's how I would do it. The 6 best teams for the SEC and the Big Ten play each other on Thursday night. That's a teaser. Get you in. You might be looking at playoff teams, but you might be looking at mid-tier teams, okay? The 4th best teams in the SEC and Big Ten play each other on Saturday afternoon at 3:30. You know what? I'm going to flip this a bit. I'm saying this out loud. I'm floating this to you guys as I'm talking to you, so I'm flipping it. I know how big noon kickoffs are for the Big Ten, so I'm going to switch this around even more. All right, starting over. Let's get this out of the way. The sixth best teams in the SEC and the Big Ten play each other Thursday night in a nice little teaser. The fifth best teams play each other at 3:30 Saturday afternoon, middle of the afternoon. The fourth best teams play each other at noon for big noon kickoff that day. The third best teams play Monday night. The second best teams play Sunday night. And then the best teams play at 7 o'clock Saturday night. And then you get the seventh best teams play each other Sunday afternoon. I mean, guys, this would just be so epic. Big Ten SEC showdown would be so much fun. It would be possible if this happened because once you get the automatic qualifiers, the SEC doesn't have to worry at that point about getting screwed because they played tougher schedules and an extra team getting left out, which is what happened last year. This is the way to do it. Everybody would watch it. This is how you can make the 16-team playoff work. So again, the biggest kink they got to work out is that you can't do the 3-6-4-5 format if you have 3 at-large bids and you don't have any exceptions and you just throw that in. You got to make sure the 3 and 6 teams play last. So the 4 and 5 teams on those that first Saturday in December have to play each other. And they actually have to try to win. The poll question, what is the best CFP format? 6% say 14 teams, 67% say 16 teams, 17% say keep it at 12, 11% say go back to 4 BCS. I'm in the 11%. I'm sorry. I know I'm in the minority, but I think we're losing what made college football special, and the playoff was not as exciting as many people think it was last year. So I'm in the minority, but I am very, 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 very big on 17 teams. And so but if you're going to do it like this, doing it at 16 would make it fun. So, but please don't expand it past 16, guys. After this, the regular season is too valuable. So let's just see how that all works out. But I'm okay with this auto bid model if you do it this way.